Welcome back to day 4 of the Valorant Masters debrief. We're talking about every day in Berlin. I'm going to tell you about the matches that happened today, tell you about the matches that are going to happen tomorrow, and what to look forward to. Unfortunately, I'm a little late on this one, so the match is actually happening right now. It's like 9 a.m. where I'm at. So I'll quickly go over this, try to get this out as fast as I can. If you want spoiler-free, the match to watch was Acend versus Vision Strikers. Go check it out. I called it yesterday. I said, watch this match, and it was a banger. Go check it out. But let's get on to it. The first match we saw was Envy versus Crew, and this was the match to see who would go to the bracket. Envy, the heavy favorites, but Crew, nothing to sneeze at. Crew, again, is the #1 team out of Latin America. They have been dominating that region, and no one really talks about it, but they've actually already qualified 4 champions at the end of the year. Crew was here at Iceland. They did take an L to EU, but they ended up beating one other team along the way, so it was not too bad. So they're kind of in the fight for the best of the rest. So again, against Envy, they weren't looking too hot, but honestly, it was pretty close. Well, at least in the first map. The first map, 13-9. And it looked pretty good in the first half, going about even, but Envy ran away in the second half. Unfortunately, in the second game, it was a pretty clean sweep, 13-2. We're not done with Crew yet. They've dropped to the losers bracket. Well, they will play the winner of Vivo Keyed versus Zeta Division, Brazil versus Japan. So we'll be seeing them again. After that was the big banger match to watch, and that was Vision Strikers versus Acend, a top EU team versus the top Korean team. Now, honestly, even I thought myself that EU was going to run away with it. Korea looked pretty good, especially when they played Paper Rex, but they had really strong attacking sides, but not so good defending sides. But on the first map against Acend, again, one of the best teams out of Europe, they ran away with defense, winning 8-4 a half on Haven. They are known for their Haven maps, especially on their attack side. So when it switched over to the attack side, they just continued to put on the pressure. Acend ended up running away with the game, winning. Haven was Vision Strikers' pick, so they went over to Icebox next. But Vision Strikers did it again. Did a super solid job on attack, and then just held their own on defense, and ended up taking the game 2-0. The super interesting thing about Vision Strikers is that their attack strategies are very well timed and practiced. So watching Buzz do what he does, with the timings around him, it is like watching a stage show in a Valorant match itself. CNED, Bone Cold, and Zeke on Acend look specifically very good, especially CNED on the op. He was doing a ton of damage, but at the end, Vision Strikers as a team played so well, beating them pretty convincingly.
Well, do you think the Korean jet is the best jet?
그러면 코리안 제트가 최고의 제트라고 생각하시나요?
Yes.
Ooh, I love
100%.
that. I love that. I love
Some other interesting things to note about this match, though, is that Vision Strikers has now, with this victory, qualified 4 champions over New Turn. So we'll be seeing them again, and I'm super hyped for it. Out of the 3 teams so far that have qualified for the bracket, 4 if you add an asterisk with Sentinels, they're the only team to not drop a game on their way to the bracket. Envy lost 1 game, 100 Thieves lost some games, but Vision Strikers 2-0 and 2-0 to make it there. And also, if you look at kind of how things are shaking out, the 3 North American teams are projected to make it into the higher seed of the bracket, plus Korea. So where's EU? Because of the Group A death pool, which, by the way, Vision Strikers won, we'll see at most 3 European representatives, as one of Acend and Supermassive Blaze will have to take each other out. This does really shake up the tournament, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
But we still haven't seen Lakia. What's the plan, and when do you think we will be able to see him play?
We've hidden Lakia for the quarters, semis, and the finals, and so we expect him to come out during those matches and get MVP for all of them.
The final match we saw today was F4Q versus Sentinels. Now, F4Q looked pretty good against G2, and G2 looked pretty good against Sentinels, so we'll have to see if that really carries over. What ended up happening, though, was that Sentinels did kind of run away with it. Map 1 looked pretty close, as F4Q, especially the first entry on the first map in the first round. Bunny went absolutely crazy, just blast popping and killing a guy and just dipping. It was so impressive to watch. Bunny specifically on that team is such a fun player to watch. You have to keep looking out for him. F4Q is going to play again against G2 and the Sentinels because of the round robin-esque pool. Their whole team honestly has been very impressive so far. But the most interesting thing is that the second map, TenZ, absolutely carried his whole team. Now, I understand that Sentinels is the best team from the best region. All my homies love NA. But TenZ went a step further, going 32-7 in 17 rounds. They won 13-4, and he still dropped a 30 bomb. And keep in mind, his teammates are some of the best players in the world. and he was still able to carry just that hard. This again just shows how strong Sentinels is. When they're at their worst, they're maybe losing a game to G2. When they're at their best, oh my god. As for the matches today, the most important match that you're going to want to watch, unfortunately, it's happening right as I speak, is F4Q versus G2. We saw that in I think it was day one. It was pretty close between F4Q and G2. Now that they both had a little more experience, both have played the Sentinels, I wonder if they'll come back and the result will be any different. The first map was pretty close with F4Q actually taking a map off of G2. So at least go check out the highlights for that one. That's going to be one to watch. After this though, we're going to move down over to the lower bracket of the tournament where we're going to have the 2 Brazilian teams play the 2 Japanese teams. The first map we have is the #1 Brazilian team, Vivo Key, versus the #1 Japanese team, Zeta Division. Now we saw Zeta Division versus Crew and we saw Vivo Key versus Envy. 2 very different types of maps. Both were honestly pretty close though. I think that Vivo Key will have this over Japan, as Japan has struggled a little bit so far in the tournament and previous Masters. And honestly, Vivo Key had looked very good. I mentioned before, watch out for Heat. Heat is very, very good. Heat is one of the best jets right now at Berlin. And that's including all of the North American, EU, Forsaken, all of these guys. That should be a pretty fun match to watch. The final match of the day, we kind of have the dumpster classic of Berlin as we have Havon Liberty versus Crazy Raccoons. Now the reason why is because these 2 guys played Gambit and 100 Thieves respectively, I think. 100 Thieves absolutely dominated Havon Liberty. I think it was 13-6, 13-3. But even worse, Gambit trashed Crazy Raccoons, 13-1 and 13-1. So these are kind of the 2 teams that kind of got shafted so far. They're going to be playing against each other, and the winner is going to have to play... All jokes aside, both these teams still are their region's respective best teams. So it's not going to be anything to sneeze at. Brazil's been looking pretty strong. Meanwhile, the Zeta Division versus Vivo Key is honestly going to be a little bit closer. The player of the day, in my opinion, I was going to try to give it to somebody else, but honestly, I just have to give it to TenZ. He had a 4.7 ACS, average combat score, per round. That's crazy. With the caliber of players that we have at this tournament, he is still proving to be better than that. TenZ is considered possibly the best player in the world, and I think this is a very clear reason why he's considered that. Please go check out the highlights for that F4Q versus Sentinels map, especially the back half. As for my tweet of the day, we're back to the horny tweet of the day, as we got BAM. That's it for me today. Thank you for watching. If you want to get more updates like these or get more into the Valorant scene itself, subscribe. It's free, it's easy. You get a video in your inbox every once in a while. That doesn't sound too bad. If you want more updates on the tournament itself or kind of hear my thoughts, follow me on Twitter. It's easy, it's cool. As well, we have a Discord where if you want to come and watch parties sometimes, if you want to talk about the games, it's super fun. We're all in there. Come join. Anyways, that's all I have. Time I have. Have a good one. Peace.